Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the one key to your success, one thing. And I'm also going to show you 3 ways to deal with it. So let me ask you, what do you think that these people have in common in their belief system? All right. So Zig Ziglar, Bruce Lee, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, Mandino all believe that there is one key to success. And what would they be in agreement about? So I'm going to tell you what the first part of this is, and then I'm going to tell you how to do it, okay? 3 ways to really dive right in and do it and get it done, because you can't just jump in and be this way, okay? So the thing is that will bring you success that many people say over and over again, it's focus. Focus, okay? But how do you focus? There's so many distractions and there's so much going on in life, and there's so many things that I need to do, and there's all these good things that get in the way of the great thing because I have a good idea to do this and I have a good idea to do that. And all of these ideas together just seem to keep me from doing the great thing that I know I was made for, the greatness that I have inside of me. How do I focus? We live in this world of scatterbrain activity. There is so many things going on all over the place. And there is so much stuff happening on the internet. You try to get one job done you're trying to get it finished, and there's emails coming in and there's things popping up on your screen. And we are in a time of the biggest distractions I think that ever were. But you know what? Successful people have always said, focus is the answer. In fact, I don't know of any success guru anywhere who says distraction is the key to success. No, it is not. Focus is the key to success. So how do you do it? And why do you do it? Well, first of all, because if you want to get anything done, you got to focus on one thing at a time. And I'm going to get into that in a minute about how to stop all the noise and the distraction and all that kind of stuff. But first, let's just talk about, what did Bill Gates say about focus? He says, my success, or part of it, is that I have focused on a few things. There is a Zen proverb that says, when walking, walk. When eating, eat. Not that complicated, right? But yet in today's world, it's very complicated. So how do you make these things happen when it's rush, 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 rushing, 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 you're never getting anywhere, always seeming like a rat on a wheel, just and never actually getting anywhere, being in the rat race. So what's one thing that would help you to focus, to get things done, okay? One thing that would help you get things done would be time management. Well, that's a dirty word. I want to manage my time. I don't want to do anything that, infringes upon. I want to be a free wheel. Well, if you want to be a free wheel, you're not going to get anything done, and you're not going to get any focus happening, and you're not going to be able to move forward. So how do you manage time? You can't get more of time. Time is something that runs out. The bucket doesn't keep refilling. It actually it runs out of the bucket, okay? So we all have 24 hours in the same day, okay? But what are we going to do with the 24 hours, and how do we manage our time? Yes, and thank you for saying I love Zig Ziglar. I love Zig Ziglar too, actually. He has some amazing things to say about focus and getting things done. So appreciate that in the comments there. If you have comments while I'm talking, please go ahead and make comments, and I'll try to respond as I'm going through. So time management. How do we deal with time management? First of all, you have to get on to, what are you spending your time at right now? I think a lot of times when we go to these courses and stuff on time management, they never actually take you to a map and say, you are here. Why is that important? Because before you can plot your trip over to there, you got to know, where are you at? So before you can start thinking about how I'm going to save time, I'm going to manage my time different, I'm going to do these things in a different way, then you need to realize, what are you spending your time at right now? And you won't know that unless you actually track your time. How do you track your time? Well, those little, wired booklets? I used to actually carry one around with me, and I would just jot down on it periodically over the day for about a 2-week period what I was spending my time at. These days, if you're doing a lot of online stuff, you might be able to just look in your Google Calendar and you'll see I had these appointments. But what did you do in between the appointments? What kind of work did you get done? Do you track that? Start writing it down. In fact, I would say run a little experiment in your life for the next 2 weeks and start looking at where do you spend your time. And no judgment to you, just write it down. Just start figuring it out. Well, I spend this much time going to the bathroom. Didn't know I spent that much time in there. I spend this much time eating. Didn't know I spent that much time eating, right? I spent this much time talking on the phone to my mother. Geez, I didn't realize I spent that much time doing that. Start tracking that stuff and see what happens. I've seen workplace surveys done where people talked about how much time they were spending at certain things, and they realized that people who are working as employees often are only working for 10 to 20% of the entire day. The rest of the time, they're doing stuff like checking their phone for social media, going to the bathroom, having a meeting, talking to somebody on the phone. Oh, and then there's those wonderful things where someone just drops by and says, oh, do you have just 5 minutes that we could talk? It's never 5 minutes, like never, okay? So what ends up happening is that the day just drifts away and drifts away and drifts away. And if you're trying to gain focus in your life, the first thing you got to do is manage your time better. You won't even know what's happening in your time if you don't start to actually, pay attention to where you're spending your time. So go ahead and start writing that down. Start paying attention to where you are spending your time, because focus is a key to your success. Here's what Mandino said. He says, it is those who concentrate on but one thing at a time who advance in this world. That's important, okay? If you want to advance in this world, you have to pay attention to one thing at a time. And you got to have to pay attention to where you're spending your time and track it and move on from it. That's the first thing. So the second thing I want to talk about that you really got to get a hold on, and this is an unpopular subject because there's been books written on this saying that this is the most awesome way to do things. And I have to tell you, this way sucks, okay? You got to stop doing this. Multitasking. That's where you haul off and do many things at once badly. Okay? And you don't actually get ahead when you're multitasking, okay? And I know as a woman and being a mother and raising kids, we had to do some multitasking when we were raising those kids. And you got to put meals on the table and have a job and do this thing and answer this phone call. You got to do all this stuff in order to just keep moving forward. But if you're trying to get to a place of success in your life, you have to stop multitasking. And how do you do that? Well, again, remember, we went back to the time management piece. We talked about where do you spend your time. I had a business coach teach me this a very long time ago, and it has been so helpful. So I'm going to share it with you right now. It's called time blocking, okay? So time blocking is so much more effective than just winging it, all right? So what do you do with time blocking? Well, most people run these lists. They make a list of to-do lists. I do this today and this today and this today and this today. Have you ever made a list and had a hard time actually accomplishing the things that were on the list, and then you felt bad? And after a while, you even stop making lists because it just seemed too hard to get everything on the list done, and you didn't seem to be getting anywhere. Well, let me talk to you about lists for a second. First of all, when you make a list, you write down the things that need to be done, and then you prioritize 1, 2, 3. What must I get done today? And just pick the top 3 things. That's first. Next thing is anything that's on that list that takes longer than an hour shouldn't be on your list. That's not actually something for your list. That's called a project. And a project should be time blocked. If it takes an hour, 4 hours, 20 hours, if you're working on writing a book, those are projects, okay? And in order to get projects finished, you actually have to time block time to get that done. So how do you time block time? Well, you go to your calendar, whether you're using the Google Calendar or a real, handheld calendar, whatever works for you. By the way, don't let the world get all judgy on you and tell you got to do it on Google, or you must use your online one. You got to use it on the phone. Use whatever works for you, okay? If you're that person who has to have a handheld calendar, don't let anyone make you feel bad about that. Use your frickin' handheld calendar, okay? Just use it. You'll be happier and you'll get things done and you'll feel better. Okay. So whatever works for you is what you should use. So you want to actually, use your calendar, time manage in your calendar, pay attention to your calendar. If you use an automator or a calendar that's online and you get up and look at it every day and it works for you, that's fabulous. But if you're kind of this person who's like out of sight, out of mind, you know what? That might not be the best place to have your calendar because you put your phone down and you forget to look at it. And I know that used to be a huge problem for me. It's only been more recently in the last year or so that I've really started dealing with my online calendar every day, looking at it there. But I just want to encourage you, do what works. And if you've been doing something because someone said you should and it's just not happening, you're not following through, you know what? It might be the wrong tool for you. So start looking at other tools. Try something else out, okay? You want something where you can write a list of things to do today and put your 1, 2, 3 things on there. But you also want a place where you can time block and you can say, okay, I know that I have to get this job done. I've been working on getting something in my network. I'm trying to figure out my Facebook marketing, for example, okay? And it's going to take me 2 or 3 hours to do this. So where do I have at least a 2-hour time block in my calendar where I could do this? Now, also incredibly important, I got to mention this. I see people time blocking in their most active time of the day where they could be talking to customers. That's when they're working out how to do their social media stuff. Guys, that's just really incredibly dumb, okay? Don't do that. You gotta be in front of your client when your client is available. So if your time to talk to your client is between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, then you should keep that time open for premium time of talking to clients, okay? I'm booking my appointments to land in that time because that's when it's acceptable for me to talk to my clients or my prospects, okay? So time block time might be from 4 till 6, example, right? That's where every day I finish a project at the end of the day, a 2-hour project. And that's when on Thursday, I'm going to work on my social media, Facebook or something like that. Or I'm writing a book. So I time block, 2-hour time block from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. because nobody wants to talk to me as a customer at that time. Does that make sense? Take the time around your booking time for clients. Otherwise, you're going to go broke. Okay. If you're trying to actually bring on customers, deal with, customer service needs, you're trying to talk to prospects, you're trying to have appointments, you need to do those things to bring in business and make money in your life, then you need to use that primary time for that, okay? And if you're not using it for that and you're wondering why you're still broke, that would be why. Hello, okay? So don't do that. So you want to time block that time. And I know some people are like, well, I only want to work 8 hours a day. Well, I guess if you're an employee, you can do that, okay? However, if you're at a side hustle, side hustles fail because you don't hustle. Okay? Side hustles fail because they're on the side. So you have to focus and get things done. And you see, when you work a job for somebody, a job, they make you actually go to work for 40 hours a week because you have productivity that you can be paid for and that adds to the bottom line of the company, which is where your salary comes from. So if you're trying to do something on your own, you must realize that that is like a job. You have to actually do some work and you got to focus on the right work at the right time in order to get it done. So if you're multitasking all the time, I can do this for my job over here and I can do this for my side hustle over here and I'm going back and forth and I got 15,000 windows open on my computer right now. I can't even remember what it was I was doing. And I go to the bathroom and I come back and I just forgot where I was. This kind of multitasking just keeps you broke, okay? You got to zone in. You got to focus, all right? Focus is so important. So I would say start affirming to yourself, I do one thing at a time, okay? Instead of talk about and brag about what kind of a multitasker you are, because that's just the ability to do lots of things badly all at once. And it doesn't actually go anywhere. So you don't want to do that, okay? So you want to, first of all, manage your time. You want to come into an understanding of where you're spending your time as your time management, and then you want to deal with your multitasking. And the way to deal with multitasking is, yes, create some lists, prioritize the thing on the list, but also segment what is going to take longer than an hour here. And you want to focus in on that thing that's going to take longer than an hour and go, that is a project. And I have 2 hours Thursday at 4 to 6 that I can work on that project. If you're a business owner, being on your business is so much more important than being in your business, okay? So, and I know we got to get stuff done, right? So you're in your business. You're that florist. You got to work on your flowers. You got to talk to customers, coming in. So when are you going to work on the business? Well, for me, I always did the working on my business on Sunday afternoons. I know some people will say, well, I don't want to work Sunday afternoons. Okay, stay broke. All right. If you want to get ahead, you got to get focused, and it's got to be time where you are working on your business, where you're not multitasking. So when I time block time on Sunday afternoon to work on my business, that's where I'm empire building, and I'm thinking, and I'm planning. And maybe I took a course, and this is the day I'm going to work on a project to help me build the thing that I learned on that day at 2 to 4 on Sunday. That's my project time, where I'm working on my business instead of in my business. And at that time, I'm not multitasking at all, ever, okay? At that time, when I've got a project that I'm working on for my business, I tell you what, the phone, I don't even take the phone with me. The phone is shut off, and it is in my room where I cannot hear it, okay? I do not answer emails at that time. In fact, oftentimes when I'm working on some project, unless I need to be on the internet, I shut it off so that the little notifications aren't flashing by, distracting me, right? So that's how you get things done. When my children were small and I was time blocking, I would actually, tell them, and I'm saying not tiny. I'm not talking about 3-year-olds here. I'm talking about 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, okay? I would say, okay, this is a good time, guys. I'm going to set you up with a TV show. Here's your popcorn. Mom's got to go work on this thing. Please don't interrupt me during that time, because in order for mom to be a good mommy, I got to deal with this stuff. So please let me deal with that stuff. I need 2 hours. In that time, you can watch a movie. And please don't bother me unless it's critically important. Unless someone's bleeding, I don't want to know about it. Well, mommy's doing this job, okay? So time blocking means that you got to treat that time with priority and that time of importance. You're not going to let other people steal that time from you. You're not going to let other people take that time and run off with it, because they'll be happy to do it. I mean, that's the time when hubby wants something. That's the time when the kids want something. That's the time when the phone rings. It's your mom and she really wants to talk to you right now. And I have just learned to say, when that time is time blocked, that is my time. That is precious. That is a date time from me. And so therefore, I'm not sharing that with other people, because I got a project that needs to be done, and I'm going to get it done. And when I work on my time block time and I'm building those projects, that's a time of incredible focus, okay? I'm getting something done right then. And if you time block time and get a handle on that, it's going to change your life. That is one thing. If you pick up one thing for me today, pick up time blocking, okay? Because it will change your life. And it will show you the difference between multitasking, where you're the rat on the wheel, never ending, and empire building, okay? Empire building, one brick at a time. Every time you have a timed block time, you're putting a brick into the side of your castle wall, and you are building an empire, and you're building a system. You're putting things into place. Okay, and if that kind of focus, man, you will be astounded at what you can accomplish as you do that. Even 1 month of that, you're going to be so much further ahead than where you were before. It is going to be amazing. All right, so you need to stop multitasking. All right, oh my gosh, I was reading yesterday, and someone reached out to me, and they said that they had more than one network marketing company that they were involved in, and that they did what we call volunteerism, and they actually identified 10 different things that they were trying to do at once, and they wanted to know they did realize that they were spending time doing too many different things, and they were wondering how to narrow that down. And they were worried about that they weren't making any real money from that. Well, I would not be surprised. How could you possibly? Okay, you're so scattered with all of those things going on. Okay. And you know what? I love volunteerism, but volunteerism is for two people. It's for the very broke and the very rich. Did I say that out loud? Oops. Some people won't like that. I don't care. I'm going to tell you the truth. Okay. If you're trying to build a business and you're spending a lot of time in volunteerism, this is not the season for that. Okay. Because you're not focused. All right. And you're taking your time and you're going over here and then you're coming back and you're going over there and you're not getting anything done. And if you've got lots of money, you know, and everything's moving and you got systems and you got people working for you and everything's going smoothly, no problem. Go volunteer. It's fabulous. Give back, right? It's a great time to volunteer. If you don't care about getting ahead in life, if you don't want anything more than you have, then that's great too. Go volunteer, you know, spend time doing something that you're passionate about that gives you joy, right? No problem. But if you want to actually be successful in life and you're not currently very successful in your life, then you need to focus. And multiple things just keeps you broke, multiplied. All right. You have to focus in. So if you're trying to do 6 different network marketing companies, you need to pick one. Pick a horse, get on it and ride it. Because you're just confusing your customers whenever they say, what are you doing today? Well, today I'm doing this. And yesterday I was doing that. And, I love this one. I do a lot of networking meetings because we run a networking organization where business owners come together and they share their information with each other and get leads from that. And I see people join our network who will ask for 2 or 3 things in exactly the same 1-minute infomercial. They'll say, hi, I'm Susie, and I have this network marketing company that has these products, blah, 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 and I am a massage therapist, and I do this and this and this and this, and I drive Uber, so call me, right? What are you going to call them? A confused buyer does nothing, 0. Okay, so in an infomercial, you need to drill down on exactly what it is that you want them to do and ask them to do that one thing. 1, focus. Zoom in on it. It's so important. Thank you for your comments. And thank you so much. I believe, too, that focus is the key. I mean, it gets things done. You cannot do this without focus. You can't move ahead. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to go to the third point about being focused and how to get focused. And man, if you didn't like me before, you're really not going to like me now. Okay. Because the third thing in being focused is a really nasty word that nobody wants to talk about or deal with. And that is discipline. You see, it takes discipline to be focused. And discipline is something that none of us want to line up for. In fact, I've trained salespeople for years, and I remember having several conversations with different people who said, oh, I want the carrot, not the stick. See, there's 2 things that will motivate you. It's pleasure or pain, right? 2 things. And everyone says, well, I want the pleasure. Offer me the big trip to get the sales job done. Offer me the extra financial bonus and I'll get the sales work done. But the reality is I have had salespeople over the years, unless you walk into the office and say, look, you bring in 2 sales this week or you're fired, you're out of here. Okay, then that guy gets up and hustles and he does something, right? And it's amazing because that's the same guy who told me that he likes the carrot, right? But the carrot doesn't work. He's really not interested in the carrot. He thinks he is because it feels nice. But what he really needs is discipline. He needs somebody to actually tell him, look, you do this and this and this, or that's going to happen, right? And I've just seen this so many times. It's not easy. It's not necessarily fun, okay? But discipline is necessary. If you just let your mind run around all the time and think about whatever you want and don't discipline yourself to focus in on anything, your mind will be happy to chase rainbows forever. You'll just keep going, right? But if you want to get things done and actually thrive in your life, in your business, and become successful, you got to get some focus happening. Okay, so discipline becomes extremely critical. And those things that we started out in the beginning talking about how, pay attention to how you're spending your time. Well, once you've figured out how you're spending it, then you think about, how could I discipline myself to do this differently? Apparently, I'm spending an hour and 15 minutes for lunch every day. Well, I could discipline myself by setting an alarm so that I cut that into 45 minutes. That gives me, more than half an hour more than I can actually, another 45 minutes even, I could spend on something else. So that's a discipline. So you have to figure out where you can discipline yourself in your life. I'm going to give you a few ways you can discipline yourself that you will find handy. I think one, I talked about discipline your time, pay attention, maybe even just use that Google Calendar to start jotting down, what are you doing in that hour after lunch? What do you do in that break between those two appointments? What activity did you actually do? Just jot it down and pay attention to that because that will help you. But what about disciplining other things? Like we talked about your infomercial, discipline your ask. So you're getting in front of clients and you're having these one-on-one appointments and you're talking, or maybe you get in front of prospects, I guess, and you're having your one-on-one appointments and you're trying to talk about getting them to buy your thing, join your thing, do your thing, okay? How about create a script and follow the script? That's discipline, all right? Why would you want to do that? Well, you can't tell what is working and what is not working if you didn't use any script. If you're just winging it, going, I'll talk to this one about that, and I'll talk to that one about this, you don't even have a list of points that you cover, then you're just really winging it. You're just really out there and you're not actually paying attention to the things that could be improved, right? And it's discipline to create a script or a list that you follow, and then you go right through to the end and you have a close, and you close one way, then you close another way, and you ask 3 times. You discipline yourself to do these kinds of things, okay? That's an area where you could discipline yourself. If you're going to networking meetings and giving an infomercial, you discipline yourself to stick to the script, to have one ask, like we mentioned earlier. That's a discipline, okay? How about goal setting? What if you disciplined your goal setting? Ooh. It might actually work if I discipline my goal setting. What a thought, right? You know that people who write down their goals are 9 times more likely to succeed than those who do not write them down. So discipline yourself to write them down, okay? Discipline yourself to keep a journal. That's a discipline, okay? It doesn't happen just by accident. You don't just fall with your face into a journal one day and start writing. No, you take out the journal and say, I'm going to write in this journal each day. At the end of the day, I'm going to jot down my notes, things that happened today, things I need to work on tomorrow, thoughts that I had. Or when I have that really great idea, I'm going to jot that into my journal. That kind of stuff, that's a discipline. And discipline is part of what makes focus work. And if you create discipline in your goal setting, this is beautiful. You start writing down. I'm going to discipline myself to write down all the goals that I have for myself this year. In fact, I'm going to write down 101 goals that I want over the next year or over the next 10 years. I'm going to write them down. And then I'm going to pick, let's say I'm going to pick 10 that I'm going to work on over the next 3 months. And I'm going to do 3 of those things this month. I'm going to focus on 3. I'm going to drill down. I'm going to focus on 3. If you were disciplined in your goal setting and writing them down, and you were disciplined in actually opening up your journal in the morning and looking at those goals and saying them out loud in the morning as you start your day, can you imagine what would happen in your life? Can you imagine? So just to recap today, the things that I covered: Zig Ziglar, Bruce Lee, Mandino, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey all agree that focus is incredibly important to your success. It's the one key. And today we talked about 3 things that you could do that would bring focus. Manage your time was number 1. Stop multitasking is number 2. And be disciplined is number 3. And I'm Kerry George, and I am from CIBN Connect. You can find us on our website at thecibn.com. We do networking. We do masterminds. We help business owners. And if you'd like one-on-one time with me, just reach out to me. My personal phone number is 403-397-1909. And I'm looking forward to talking to you. I'm looking forward to helping you grow a business and do something exciting and actually build an empire. So be focused. You can do it. Happy capitalism.